Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, we're going to be going over my top 10 4Ks of 2024 so far. But before I get into that, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, like this video and then comment down below, guys, what are some of your favorite 4Ks? Because we're going to be different, guys. We're going to have different opinions. That's what happens on the internet, okay? And it's okay. Let me know what your 10 favorites are, your 5 favorites, your 15 favorites, your 20 favorites, whatever you want to let me know in the comments. Just your favorite 4Ks of 2024 so far. If you don't like 4K, if you don't watch 4K, you just watch Blu-ray, let me know what some of your favorite Blu-rays are in the comments section below. But that is important to know, guys. Different opinions. My opinion, and then your opinion, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section below. Okay, at risk of having this video run way too long, I'm just going to jump right into it. I've got 4 honorable mentions, and then we're going to crack into my top 10. Look, this was a very difficult list to make because the ones that are in my honorable mentions, like I remember reviewing some of these and saying like these were maybe the best 4Ks I'd ever seen in my life. So like that just goes to show you how great the stack that is in my top 10 is. And I've got several criteria that I kind of rate these on. Of course, it's the transfer. That's the thing that I'm thinking about the most, but also the movie kind of plays a factor a little bit. And special features and packaging and just the whole complete package of the release factors into where it's placed on this list. But these 4 that I'm getting ready to cover, I just had to include. I could not leave them out. I wanted to have like 2 honorable mentions, but I couldn't cut some of these out. Let's talk about The Crow. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off. I know a lot of people would probably put this in their top 5, maybe their favorite of the year. I thought it was a phenomenal transfer. I really did. I like this steelbook a lot. And from what I remember, there were some new special features. I think a couple of special features on here that were new. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie. I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to ruffle any more feathers, but I'm just not. I think it's good. I like it. I'm not like hyped up on it like everybody else is, but the transfer is phenomenal. Paramount did an excellent job restoring this classic from 1994. So The Crow is definitely in my honorable mentions. Also, RoboCop 2, pretty much the same reason as The Crow that it's in my honorable mentions, because I thought the transfer was freaking spectacular. Like, I think I put on my thumbnail to the review for this, perfect 4K disc. Like, this is just one of the best looking 4Ks that I've ever seen. But the movie itself, I think, is a drastic step down from the first one. I like the movie. I think it's fun. It's entertaining, but it is nowhere near the level of quality that first RoboCop film is. And also, I got to take into account, there's really nothing new here in terms of special features. It's all the same stuff that was present on Screen Factory's previous release, so that's, kind of disappointing as well. And, it's the original poster, which I like that. The packaging's cool and all that, but it just, it's a good transfer, though. If you love RoboCop 2, like, you will enjoy this transfer. It's phenomenal. That's why it's in my honorable mentions for sure. RoboCop 2. I feel like I represented, I do want to say this as well, I feel like I represented, like, I didn't even mean to do this, but like looking over my stack, like I think all the studios, like most of the studios is in here, most of the boutique labels, like I feel like I got a good mix of everything. So I just want to pat myself on the back for that. Ken, you did a good job. Let's talk about Purple Rain on 4K. Of course, a lot of people love this movie. The movie's really growing on me. Like, I really appreciate this film and really enjoy it. It's like a big concert film. And it looked spectacular in 4K. I knew it was going to look great on 4K. Some of those concert set piece moments looked phenomenal. But I can't overlook the fact that Warner Brothers cut some special features from that Blu-ray release. So that was kind of disappointing with this release. And I do not believe, I review so many 4Ks, guys, it's hard to remember, but I do not believe this had Dolby Atmos, and it probably should have, being such, like, music being such an important part of this movie. It probably should have, but I don't believe it did. It also did not have Dolby Vision as well, which I think would have enhanced the picture. But the picture's phenomenal. Like, it really looked great on 4K with the HDR. So I'm not taking anything away from it. I thought it was a great 4K disc. Really nice slipcover as well. You got the purple kind of aesthetic with the 4K banner at the top. That is definitely really cool. So that one had to be in my honorable mentions. We also got Little Darlings. This one killed me to put in honorable mentions because I really enjoyed this film. This is the first of Vinegar Syndrome's new cinematography line, or cinematography. Again, whatever you want to call it. Beautiful edition. I really like these editions. You take them out of the package right there. You got a little booklet, a little digibook with some pages in it, and the discs are really cool because they're like hot pink. But this movie was really great. Just a really nice coming-of-age story. And the transfer, it takes place at summer camp. I've said this before. Movies that take place at a summer camp, like The Burning, they just look so freaking good on 4K. Like with the trees and just that camp setting looks phenomenal on 4K. That's why I want Sleepaway Camp on 4K. But Little Darlings was a phenomenal 4K. Has some really good special features on here as well. And just a really good movie. So that one was in my honorable mentions as well. All right, guys, look, that was honorable mentions. Let's talk about my top 10. So many great ones in here. Let's start off with my number 10. I can't believe this one only made number 10. Like, I was really high on this 4K when I watched it, but Major League. And I'll tell you right now, this is why Major League, because this is just as good of a transfer as like The Crow or RoboCop 2, but magnets. It made it into the top 10 because magnets on a steelbook. It innovated in the steelbook packaging, so I had to throw it in the top 10 just because of that. But like this movie, and did I even show the magnets? Look at all the magnets on the back, guys. It's so cool. You can take this magnet and you can put it on the front. That's freaking awesome, right? But anyway, the transfer was phenomenal, like out of this world. Anybody that says that Paramount is not putting out good transfers now, like, look, you got to look again. You got to watch some of these 4Ks that Paramount's doing right now. They are really doing an excellent job with some of these releases between this and The Crow. Like, they've locked in. They've got it figured out. So don't worry about Paramount anymore. I know they had their misses with Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and some other ones. But I think for the most part, Paramount is kind of on a roll now with their 4Ks. They're doing really good work. And Major League was definitely one of those. So Major League on 4K, that was a great transfer. That is number 10. Let's talk about my number 9. Some people, I don't know if people will be upset about this, but this is the only James Cameron film that I have in my top 10. I will say that. And it's a Disney title. A Disney title made it into my top 10, guys. Of course, I'm talking about The Abyss. So I could not leave this one out of the top 10. This looked really great. Like, I think the only parts that looked a little wonky, looked a little too James Cameron-y, a little soft, a little uncanny valley, if you want to say that, were some of the scenes above water. Just kind of looking at the faces, it didn't look natural, it looked too smooth. You know what James Cameron does to his movies. We all know, I don't need to go into it. But when you get underwater, like all the stuff underwater, which is like 95% of this movie, maybe 97% of this movie, looks phenomenal. Everything underwater looks great, looks spectacular. So not taking anything away from this 4K and how it looked, I thought it was breathtaking all the way through, with the exception of those above the water sequences. But also, you have to take into account that there is not just a theatrical version on 4K here. There's the extended version that they put on 4K. This is a first time to 4K and Blu-ray release from this movie. It hadn't gotten a release since DVD, so factoring that in as well. There's also a new documentary here. I think there's actually 2 brand new special features with James Cameron. So this thing is loaded with new special features. You got 2 cuts on 4K. It really is the definitive version of this movie on physical media, and something that fans of this film have been waiting for quite some time. So I have to reward it. I have to commend it. As much as I don't like it, I have to commend Disney for being involved in putting this out, and of course James Cameron for finally bringing us his movies that everybody, for better or for worse, he finally did it, guys. Of course, True Lies is not going to make it into my top 10. I enjoyed the transfer. I wasn't really like overly negative about any of the Cameron movies. I was just like, it is what it is. At least we got The Abyss and True Lies on Blu-ray and 4K, whatever. Aliens is the only one that I didn't feel right about. I did not love Aliens on 4K. I really didn't. But The Abyss is a spectacular transfer. And if you're a fan of this movie, this is an excellent release to add to your collection. Let's get into where am I at now? Number 8. Let's get into my number 8. I again, shocked that this didn't make it higher than number 8, but Killer Clowns from Outer Space. This transfer blew me away. And I mean, Scream Factory's been doing a great job on their 4Ks and their transfers. It's just they really haven't been putting out anything like super interesting this year, in my opinion. Like they were putting out bangers last year and in 2022, and it's like Killer Clowns is really the only thing of like interest. I feel like the big like spectacle title they put out this year, Killer Clowns, and they did it up. They had pin sets and alternate artwork and steelbook right here, which is freaking awesome. Look at the colors on that Killer Clowns steelbook. But I had to knock this one a little bit. Like I said, it's still in the top 10. Had to knock it a little bit. They don't have a lot of special features on here. Like there's a couple of special features, but those special features are from the standard Blu-ray. They didn't even get the Arrow features ported over. And I think, and I've heard other people say this as well, I think the reason for that is Arrow's got this still. They got it in the UK, I feel like, and they're going to put out some kind of like box set edition of Killer Clowns on Outer Space. Could be wrong. It's going to be a UK exclusive, but they've been doing that kind of stuff recently with Carrie on 4K. They've been doing it with the Chucky movies on 4K, and I could see them maybe this October, this November, Arrow Video, putting out a 4K box set edition in the UK, not in the States, of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And when that comes out, that'll be the definitive edition of Killer Clowns. But until then, we've got this 4K steelbook of Killer Clowns from Scream Factory, and it is a really good edition, and it looks fantastic on 4K. And I had so much fun revisiting this one on 4K too. This is such a fun movie from the 80s. Now let's get into my number 7. And again, I'm going to keep saying this. I can't believe this one didn't make it higher, but Chinatown. Oh my goodness, did this movie blow me away. I didn't know quite how I was going to feel about it, but by the time I got to the end of this film, never seen it before. It was a first time watch. I was blown away by everything, the story, where the movie ends up. Like, it's a shocking ending. But Jack Nicholson's performance in this film is just phenomenal. So I love the movie. This Paramount Presents edition right here is really spectacular. You got a lot of new special features. I think there's 3 new special features included here, which is pretty cool. Like Paramount and the Paramount Presents line is really upping their game with these releases, so I appreciate that. And you also get the 2 Jakes, and I have not watched the 2 Jakes yet. I need to, but you get an additional movie on this release as well. Does that kind of feel like a cheat a little bit, you know, versus all the other releases? Kind of, maybe that helped bump it up the list a little bit, but also it's a spectacular transfer, and it looked freaking awesome on 4K. Has such a unique like visual quality to it anyway, directed by Roman Polanski. This movie is just one of a kind. Like, I have never felt the way I felt watching this film with any other movie. So it's one of a kind Chinatown spectacular edition by Paramount as part of the Paramount Presents line, number 45 right there. And it folds out and it has the original poster right there. How cool is that? But yeah, highly recommend Chinatown. From what I know, this is sold out right now, but I anticipate that Paramount will probably put more of this in stock at some point. But spectacular release right here. That is my number 7. Now getting into my number 6, guys, you may laugh. You may laugh and say, how the hell, Ken, did that make it so high up on your list? But this is this is almost all packaging. Packaging and special features, because there's so much here. But the Super Mario Brothers 4K from Umbrella is just a spectacular release. Like, this thing, it's the biggest box set, I think, of a singular movie that we've gotten this year for sure, coming out of Australia. But this box set is so freaking awesome. You've got like so many booklets here. Like, you got booklets with like tons of information. You got, I dropped something as well. I don't know what I dropped. You got a book with like alternate scripts, like alternate universe scripts that people wrote for this movie. You've got a little like retro magazine edition in here as well. That's super cool. But this thing's like I can't remember everything that's in this set. I'm not going to go over all of it. I reviewed this on the channel though. I did it in an Umbrella showcase. But there is so much here. There's a 4K disc. There is a Blu-ray. There are Blu-ray extras out the wazoo. There is so much in this set. It's not even funny. And the 4K really looked great. Umbrella did a spectacular job on this restoration. So I am comfortable putting the Super Mario Brothers movie from 1993, the 4K edition from Umbrella Entertainment, at my number 6, firmly at my number 6. Now let's get into my top 5. This is exciting, guys. This is very exciting. We got some really good titles here to talk about. Let's talk about Starman. This is from Sony. This is a part of the Columbia Classics Volume 4. Unfortunately, Hopefully that will change in the future, but you can only get this movie on 4K in that Columbia Classics box set Volume 4. They got a Volume 5 coming out already, so hopefully at some point, like, they do some kind of standalone steelbook or something. Like, if they do anything from that box set, like, do Starman. People want this movie. It's a John Carpenter film. They want it on 4K to maybe complete their John Carpenter collection in 4K, because Shout Factory had this before. They had this, they put this out, and they weren't able to put this one out on 4K because Sony says, no, we're taking that one back. That's a John Carpenter film that has some prestige to it. We're going to take it back and put it in one of our Columbia Classics box set. But not only did you get the movie, I'm going to go ahead and include that because it's in this case. You get the TV show on a 4K disc. It's remastered on Blu-ray, but it's on a 4K disc, so you can fit all 20 episodes on there. I think that's how it is. Maybe it's 10 episodes a disc now that I think of it. But this is a incredible, yeah, it is. It's 2 discs, but they're both 4K discs. So it could fit all the episodes, 22 episodes on 2 discs on a 4K disc, but remastered on Blu-ray. And it's a spectacular edition, guys. The 4K is jaw-dropping. I have not seen anything like it. Like, it looked so freaking good. It looked like a modern film, like it was just filmed yesterday. In a good way. Like, it still retained that classic grainy feel to it, that filmic feel to it, that filmic look is what I'm trying to say. But it just felt so clean and so crisp and just looked so awesome. Every second of this film looked awesome on 4K. So Starman, I cannot recommend highly enough. I'd almost say it's worth getting the box set just for this edition right here. But the other movies in that set are really good movies, classic movies, and they also look great on 4K, but they just didn't look as good as Starman. Starman legitimately blew me away. So that is my number 5, Starman on 4K. Hopefully they do a steelbook at some point. All right, let's get into my number 4. We got 2 Arrow videos back to back here, but my number 4 is American Gigolo. So I was so happy with this release. This was an incredible release by Arrow Video. The 4K looked immaculate. Like, you would never see Richard Gere like this in any other movie on 4K. Like, I don't care if you watch Primal Fear and you said, Richard Gere looks great on 4K. Richard Gere on 4K from Arrow Video and American Gigolo from 1980. There's nothing like it. There is nothing like the Gere in American Gigolo on 4K. Looked fantastic, but every inch of this movie looks great. This is directed by Paul Schrader. The cinematography is incredible. The colors in this movie are incredible, and they look so freaking awesome in 4K with the HDR and Dolby Vision. Everything is so enhanced. It's so enriched. It's so vibrant. Like, all the way through, guys. Classic film from the early 80s, 1980 American Gigolo. But this thing is absolutely stacked with special features. I think there's something like 8 or 9 brand new special features here. So Arrow Video just did the Lord's work with this box set. And it's a box set, guys, with a slipcover. It's a freaking box set with a slipcover. I'm loving the new trend from Arrow Video. So had to put American Gigolo at number 4. And honestly, I probably could have got this up a little bit higher. But the 3 that I got in my top 3 are like the gold standard for this year, I feel like. But American Gigolo, it gets close. It's right there. Number 4, guys, American Gigolo. Love this release by Arrow Video. But let's talk about number 3, guys. And I'm only including one of these 2. It was a 1-2 punch that came out at the beginning of the year back in January from Arrow Video. But I'm only including one because I don't want to cheat. Okay, I think I cheated in my 3-month update or my favorite 4Ks of the year. But Conan the Barbarian, if I have to choose one of the Conans, I'm going to choose Barbarian because, to be honest, it's just a better movie, and also this has a lot more special features in it as well. Transfer-wise, I think it's pretty on par. I think that the Destroyer and the Barbarian both look fantastic on 4K, so I can't really edge this over that one as far as the transfer. But this was really a great release, guys, and really a great movie. It was really eye-opening for me. I did not expect to love this movie as much as I did. So just a great release by Arrow Video. Tons of great special features. I think there's archival documentaries as well, like multiple audio commentaries. I think one of the audio commentaries is with Arnold as well from back in the day. And this is a really cool box set released by Arrow Video as well. I did not get the Conan Chronicles. Maybe if I got the Conan Chronicles set, I would have put them together. But since I got them separately, I went ahead and just picked Barbarian to put in my top 3. And I think I made the right choice. I think most people will agree with me. But all right, guys, we have arrived at our top 2. I bet you're on the edge of your seats, just on pins and needles, waiting for the reveals of these titles. Let me not make you wait any longer, okay? Let's get into my number 2. My number 2 is Cry Baby. Look, my top 2 are movies that are very personal to me and movies I've been watching since I was a kid. You can probably guess what my number 1 is by this point. But Cry Baby, this was a release by Kino Lorber that when they announced it and I actually got into the special features and what they were all including in this release, I actually did shed one tear. I was like, I can't believe they're doing this for Cry Baby. The work that they did, Kino Lorber did on the Cry Baby 4K, I don't think enough people are talking about and celebrating. They really did this one right. And this is a John Waters film, and he was heavily involved in the restoration and also all of the special features that were included here as well. You got a new documentary or featurette that heavily includes John Waters. Like, that thing's like 40 minutes long, and all the producers talking about the making of this movie. It's incredible. All the interviews here with the cast and the crew are incredible. They went to prison to interview Amy Locan, and that's just amazing. And she gives a spectacular interview, regardless of what you think of her and what she did. That was an amazing interview. And you got Tracy Lords that gave an interview. You got Iggy Pop that gave an interview. You got Ricky Lake that gave an interview. Like, all these people came back, except for Johnny Depp. He's the only one that didn't, but everybody else came back to talk about this film, and you could just tell they loved this movie, they loved John Waters, and they were excited to be back to talk about this movie. So this is a really incredible release with tons of great stuff. You got the It Came From Baltimore documentary from 2005, and for the first time, I think since DVD, you had the director's cut on this release as well. And I think that the director's cut was on Blu-ray and the theatrical cut was on 4K. But the director's cut, I think, adds a couple more, new musical numbers that weren't included back in the theatrical cut. But such a great release. The 4K looked stunning, absolutely stunning. This is a movie that I've loved since I was a kid. It's honestly my favorite Johnny Depp film. I love this movie so much. I was so happy to see it come to 4K and to see it get this kind of treatment, guys. And these are not all short interviews either. These are not all short interviews. 9 new features. The one new featurette with John Waters, which is like 40 minutes long. And then you got 8 interviews. Some of them are 20 minutes plus. So there's so much that goes into this release that really puts it over the top for me. A movie that I love, a fantastic 4K restoration, tons of great features. Yes, it's Kino, so you don't have spectacular packaging. That's okay, guys. It's not always about the packaging, guys. It is with Super Mario Brothers, but it's not always about the packaging with these releases. Sometimes it's just a really great release that captures your attention. So I had to give Cry Baby the respect it deserves. Number 2 for Cry Baby on 4K. Love that release. And guys, coming at my number 1, so close to my heart. This is such a close to my heart release. I could not put it anywhere else. I don't see anything else beating this 4K in 2024. Maybe something comes along later on in the year from a boutique label. Maybe Arrow puts out something incredible. Vinegar Syndrome. I don't know. The future has yet to be told. Nightmare on Elm Street's coming. The Terminator's coming, like I just said. So we got stuff coming to be excited about. But Twister on 4K is my favorite of the year so far. I have never watched a 4K since I started watching 4K back in 2017, where my experience with the movie so drastically changed. Like, I felt like, I didn't feel like I was watching a different movie, but it was such an enhanced experience than what I was used to watching Twister. I had just watched a Blu-ray like 2 weeks previous, and I don't know if it's just because this is a movie that I had a greater perspective on, and I've been watching it since VHS, since I was a kid. I saw this movie in the theaters, and I knew how it was supposed to look, or how I thought I wanted it to look. And then I watch this and I see all these incredible changes that Jan de Bont made, and it just really enhanced my experience and really just made this like one of the ultimate viewing experiences of my life. It's life-changing. Like, Twister like changed my life when it came out back in 1996 when I watched it at 10 years old, and it changed my life again at 38 watching this movie on 4K. It was an experience, guys. And it was an experience that I honestly can say that I don't think I've ever had before. And I don't know if I'll ever have it again. I hope I will. I hope I'll have the same experience again. But guys, the picture here is fantastic. Yes, it goes green. It goes real green, but I like that change now. I wasn't sure about it at first, but I like the change. It's dark. It feels like you're in the storm, guys. It just feels so ominous. And you have that Dolby Atmos mix that's just so incredible, guys. Just so incredible. Freaking blows your hair back. I don't have any hair, but if you have hair, it'll blow your hair back watching this movie on 4K with the Dolby Atmos. But I just thought it was incredible. Such a great release, and I had to put this at my number one from Warner Brothers. Well done, Warner Brothers. You did a great job here collaborating with Jan de Bont on bringing us Twister on 4K. Now, could you have done a little bit better job with the slip? Probably. I'm not in love with the artwork, but you do have a nice box set with the steelbook coming that was just revealed that I am excited to potentially get when it comes out. But guys, Twister on 4K, my number one of 2024 so far. That is it, guys. My top 10. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Comment down below your favorite 4Ks of 2024 so far. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all of my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.